What's going on, everybody? I am back to break down this 5-game slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Excited to get into it. Going to be giving you guys the top plays to get you winning some money over here on DraftKings and FanDuel. As always, guys, if you enjoy this content, would be greatly appreciated if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. Would be awesome. The like goal on this video is going to be 100 likes. And if you are going to be very serious about NBA DFS, I would highly recommend you check out my NBA DFS premium packages over here on patreon.com/KJK_DFS. I do offer a DraftKings FanDuel NBA package, a Prize Picks package, and an NBA combo package. If you play all of them or 2 of the 3, you can get that at a discount. So check it out. I will also be rolling out MLB packages, and I am rolling out an MLB DFS masterclass. If you're getting really serious about MLB DFS and you want to learn kind of how to really have a successful process, I'm going to go through mine, 5 live interactive courses, teach you all the steps that I use when researching MLB and how I was able to win over $100,000 last year during the MLB DFS season. So if you're interested in that, check that out. And without further ado, let's talk about it, guys. Let's get into the game-by-game breakdown. This video is brought to you by Prize Picks. If you haven't signed up for Prize Picks, go ahead and do so today, guys. Use that promo code KJKDFS to receive an instant match deposit up to $100. You can win money off picking the over and under on things like players' points, assists, rebounds, and assists. I've been covering that daily on the channel. We went 5-0 yesterday, so I know a lot of people won quite a bit of money. So if you haven't signed up over there, go ahead and sign up. Use that promo code KJKDFS to receive that instant match deposit. And thank you to all my current premium content members. Lastly, I do not want to forget about you guys. So thank you to all of you guys. And I know we had some more signups, so I'll get you guys up on the graphic as well. But I want to give a shout out to all of my premium content members, because without you guys, this channel wouldn't really be anything. All your support really does help me a lot. So all right, guys, first game on the slate, we have Cleveland taking on Toronto. As far as the total in this game, the overall pace expected game environment is a 214.5 over-under. It's a 4-point spread in favor of the Toronto Raptors. Don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my lock of the night. That's what I forgot to say right there, guys, so we're going to talk about that. But anyways, Jared Allen's out. Gary Trent Jr. is listed as questionable. OG Anunoby is listed as questionable as well. Obviously, very big news. Both these guys play a lot of rotation minutes. Malachi Flynn's already been ruled out. So if there is no Anunoby, if there is no Gary Trent Jr., we're going to have to pay very close attention to the starting lineup, because we know that the Toronto Raptors like to keep their rotation very tight. They keep the same guys throughout the rotation. Right now, they have a projected starting lineup of Van Vliet, Barnes, Siakam, Achiala, Kem Birch, Chris Boucher. So if that's the case, I mean, obviously that's going to be a huge bump up for most notably Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, and Fred Van Vliet. If all these guys are out, even though they don't have the highest implied team total in the world with a 109.25 implied total, they're going to play lots of minutes and get like all the usage. So those guys would become relevant plays, even though it's not the best game environment. The more of these guys that get ruled in, such as a Trent, such as an OG Anunoby, the less interest I'm going to have in this Toronto squad overall. And we're not going to be playing, guys like a Precious Achiala, who played 28 minutes last time out, 34 the time before. Chris Boucher, who could possibly get some more minutes if there's no OG Anunoby as well. So those guys, really, really great plays if those guys are out. If they're not out, though, can no longer really be playing those guys. So we're just waiting on the injury news there. As far as the Cleveland side is concerned, Jared Allen continues to be out, which is making Evan Mobley a really great play here for a consistent, amount of time. And when you look at the Toronto Raptors rotation, or their defense overall, on my premium content sheets over here, my defensive half-court and putbacks tool, as far as Toronto, they're 12th overall in the points per possession rank, but they're 22nd in offensive rebounding percentage rank, and they're 28th in putbacks. So they're allowing a lot of putbacks. Points per play rank in the putback category, they're 26th. So yeah, they like to give it up down low to the big guys, and that's obviously going to make us have some interest in Evan Mobley. And as far as the other guys in Cleveland, I mean, Darius Garland and Evan Mobley are by far the top plays. I know they're priced up accordingly, but the fact of the matter remains, the other guys on the team just really aren't that interesting. Outside of a Lauri Markkanen, the Karis LeVert, or Kevin Love in this mid-range, Lauri Markkanen is playing a lot of minutes. He's only 6'1", so he definitely is interesting. Kevin Love and Karis LeVert's minutes have been somewhat limited. They both do produce at pretty high rates, but it would be nice to see them play a little bit more minutes. For now, I'm really just kind of sticking to Lauri Markkanen, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland. Everyone else on this team's a wash for me. You can mix in some Chetty, I guess, if you want. You can mix in some of these other guys, but I really would advise against it. I don't really think they're the best plays. We have so much better plays later on in the slate. Indiana taking on Memphis is the next game on the slate. Comes with a 235.5 over-under. It's a 12.5-point spread in favor of the Memphis Grizzlies. So Memphis expected to win this one fairly easily. Ja Morant listed it's out right now, but that could change. And we'll see, man. He missed 2 straight matchups with a lingering right knee injury. We really need that news, obviously. If he continues to be out, Tyus Jones will continue to get the start. He's going to be a pretty great play at his price tag. He's only 4.3 35 minutes last time out, 34 DraftKings points. His prices come down, and this is another fast up-tempo game environment. So Tyus Jones would be a really great play. DeAnthony Melton we'd be looking to go to. Desmond Bain, Jared Jackson would also get a bump up in usage. So obviously, a very, very big piece of news in Ja Morant. If he's back, then we're going to be kind of just sticking in on the core guys like a Ja, like a Desmond Bain, like a Jared Jackson. And those other guys wouldn't become nearly as relevant, such as Tyus Jones, such as DeAnthony Melton. So we do really need that news. And Dylan Brooks on a back-to-back. His minutes have been really limited. Did play 34 minutes finally last time out. I almost wonder if they maybe rest him on a back-to-back. It's just kind of speculation because I know they've been working him back from minutes. He's a young guy, so I would think he'd be fine. But just from purely like an injury aspect, they're kind of gearing up for the playoffs. They've already started to rule Ja Morant out if he's a little bit banged up, so that's possible. Jalen Smith, Chris Duarte looking like they're going to be ruled out for the Indiana Pacers. So Terry Taylor is going to look like a much better play than he typically is. Down here at 3.5 price tag, he's very cheap. He's a very good fantasy point producer. Last time out, 29 minutes, 23 DraftKings points, but we know his upside's a lot better than that. I know looking at my projections right now, he does look like a pretty great play here on the Indiana side. And there's a couple of other guys that do look good. Goga Batati as well continues to get the starts and playing a decent allotment of minutes. So if he's good to go, he does look like a really great play in my projection model at a 4.9 price tag. 37 DraftKings points last night in a great matchup against Sacramento. Gets a great matchup tonight against Indiana as well. I'm sorry, against Memphis as well. So those would be the guys I'm looking to. I mean, Tyus Jones does look really good right now in my projections, but that's because Ja Morant's not ruled in right now in my projections. So keep your eyes on that, guys. And that's pretty much where you're looking to on the Indiana side. Outside of the fact that if there is indeed no Malcolm Brogdon, which it looks like, well, rest, he was ruled out Wednesday. Okay, so he probably will be back in this one. But Halliburton was also questionable. Buddy Hield, Brogdon, and Halliburton are really the three guys that I'm looking to load up with the most on for the pay-up options for the Indiana side. Kind of obvious. I would recommend that if you're playing one, you only play 1 to 2 of those guys, not all 3, because they're going to have a hard time all 3 having the upside in your tournament lineups. And yeah, I mean, that's really what you're looking to in this game. So our next game, Washington taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. As far as the total in this one, comes in with a 234.5 over under. It's a 12.5 point spread in favor of Milwaukee. Milwaukee expected to win this one really easily. For good reason. Kyle Kuzma listed as out, so he's not going to be in. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more minutes to be going around for this rotation. Kristaps Porzingis is going to become a much better play with there being no Kyle Kuzma in the rotation. He put up 57.25 DraftKings points last time out. Did take on the worst defense in the league in the Houston Rockets, so that's a little bit of a disclaimer, but fact of the matter remains, you take Kyle Kuzma out of the equation. Kristaps Porzingis' usage is going to be really, really good here. And all these guys that are starting for the Washington Wizards are going to be much more interesting options, obviously. So Rui Hachimura, Corey Kispert, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Raul Neto, all going to be getting a lot more minutes, a lot more usage. And all going to be looking like pretty decent value plays for us on this slate tonight. Corey Kispert putting up 0.65 DraftKings points per minute. I've got him projected to play 31 minutes. It's just a little bit tough because he doesn't really produce at the highest rate. Denny Avdija puts up 0.82 DraftKings points per minute, and Rui Hachimura puts up 0.89, and they're priced at 4.7 and 4.5 respectively. So those two guys look like pretty friendly plays at their price tags. They're cheap enough to where they can get you there. 30.25 and 31.5 for Denny Avdija last time out, and then Rui Hachimura, as far as his output, put up 29 DraftKings points last time out. That's kind of the upside that he can supply you with in the mid to low 4K range on DraftKings. You're definitely going to be happy with that, man. You're definitely going to be happy with that. So those are kind of some of the guys I'd be looking to. I think Ish Smith off the bench is somewhat interesting at a 3.9 price tag. And then Raul Neto at 3.8. He's putting up 0.81 DraftKings points per minute. So those would be another two guys that I would mention if you want to go to them. I mean, a ton of these Washington guys are viable. It's a matter of hitting the right ones. Who's going to have the big game. And I don't know that that's necessarily the most predictable. Running back on the other side with Milwaukee, there continues to be no Chris Middleton. So with him being out, Wesley Matthews, Jordan Nwora, Pat Connaughton should see more run. Grayson Allen should see more usage as well. So he's a little bit more interesting. But, I mean, most notably, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, it's Jrue Holiday. Those two guys are the ones you just want to load up on. Specifically, Jrue Holiday. You take Chris Middleton off the floor. He's the secondary option to Giannis. It gives him the opportunity to be the one and only secondary guy. So really have a high upside game at a nice discount in comparison to Giannis. So he does look really good. And then you're looking at some secondary options like a Brook Lopez, like a Bobby Portis. I had a lot of interest in Bobby Portis for a long time there, but now Brook Lopez has been back. It's cutting into his minutes. It's cutting into his usage. He's still viable in tournaments. The upside's phenomenal, but just keep in mind, Brook Lopez is kind of cutting into his usage right now in his minutes. So for me, really looking to lock in Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and then rounding it out with some of those secondary guys like a Pat Connaughton, a Grayson Allen. Whoever has the hot hand might get a longer extended run than they typically would. It's just kind of how this is going to flow with there being no Chris Middleton. So Chicago taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Next game on the slate comes in with a 227.5 over under to 1.5 point spread in favor of the Chicago Bulls. Expected to stay close, expected to be up pace here. We have some high usage guys on both sides that I certainly will have interest in. Brandon Ingram listed as questionable. Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan also listed as questionable. Ingram is more so doubtful, though, so expect him to continue to be out. As far as DeRozan, he is a true questionable. And Zach LaVine, he is probable. So if there is no DeMar DeRozan in this one, obviously, immediately, Vucevic and Zach LaVine are going to jump right to the top of our list as far as our priorities tonight. Really going to like these guys regardless. At 7.9 and 7.7, respectively, their price tags are just too cheap for guys that can go out there and put up 50-plus DraftKings points on any given night. And then if you take DeMar DeRozan out of the equation, they're going to be looking like really good plays, and you're also going to be looking to a lot more of the secondary guys like an Alex Caruso and like a Kobe White. I think Alex Caruso could be a really great play here if he is indeed out, is DeMar DeRozan, and the same can be said for Kobe White. And, I mean, that's really what you'd be looking to. Outside of that, maybe we see Javonte Green take up a little bit of a tick in his usage as well. So it's like I don't hate it in your tournament lineups when you're factoring in a guy that usually plays a lot of minutes as is. He's only 3-4. I don't hate it. But, I mean, mainly LaVine and Vucevic, obviously. And then Alex Caruso, I do think would get the biggest bump there, third. And on the other side for the New Orleans Pelicans, as far as what I'm looking to do them, with no Ingram, same thing that we just talked about with DeRozan being out. Jonas Valanciunas and CJ McCollum, the top two usage guys, take a big leap forward. 50 and 61 DraftKings points the last two times out for JV. Going to continue to really like him. And then CJ McCollum at a 9-1 price tag has really stepped up his scoring as well since joining the New Orleans Pelicans. Hasn't had the biggest of games the last few times out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games the last 5 times out. He hasn't exactly had the biggest game, but still going to be viable. And then with Ingram being out, you're looking at some secondary options like a Devontae Graham, like a Herbert Jones, like a Jackson Hayes as well. Do think these guys are going to step up and have some bigger usage. Jackson Hayes specifically has been playing a lot more minutes. The usage has been there. 38 and 38 minutes the last two times out. That's a lot of minutes for a guy that's just a 5.2 price tag that produces at a pretty high fantasy point per minute rate. That is certainly going to make me have a lot of interest in him. Looking at my projections, 5.2, he puts up 0.93 DraftKings points per minute. I've even got him projected, I've got him way under projected on minutes just so that I don't get an absurd amount of him. Right now, I've got him projected to play 27 minutes. He still looks like one of the top value plays on the slate for me. He's a guy that puts up 0.93 DraftKings points per minute. He's a 227.5 over-under game. Just really looks good, so that's what I'd be looking to in that game. The Phoenix Suns taking on the Denver Nuggets, last game on the slate. This one comes in with a 231.5 over-under. It's a 4-point spread in favor of the Denver Nuggets. Expect to stay close. Expected to be up pace. We have two studs in this game that will certainly be worth paying up for tonight. Nikola Jokic, Devin Booker. Both high-usage guys on their respective sides. The ceilings are massive. Nikola Jokic's price tag has plummeted down to 11.4, which might still seem like a really expensive price tag, which, it is, but he's the best fantasy point per minute producer in the league. Looking at his per minute production on the season, he's putting up 1.83 DraftKings points per minute. So, just going to look like a phenomenal play in the game. It's expected to stay close. And the same can be said for Devin Booker. No more Chris Paul in this one. His fantasy point per minute usage is going to be phenomenal the rest of the season. His upside is going to be phenomenal. And two teams in the West that are looking to battle it out here. High likelihood that they're going to be battling out in the playoffs as well. So it's definitely going to be a good game here. DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Payne continue to all three be great secondary options as long as Cam Johnson continues to be out. Certainly going to have a lot of interest in these guys. So feel free to load up on them. And then on the Denver side, the secondary options, you're looking at Will Barton, Aaron Gordon. Their price tags have come way down, man. I think this is a great spot to jump on these two guys. They can be a little bit inconsistent at times, but the upside is always there. So only 5K for Aaron Gordon, only 5.1 for Will Barton in a close game. Bones Highland off the bench has surpassed them in his price tag. The production's been great out of him, but he's not exactly he's definitely third in the pecking order as far as minutes and priority in this offense. And he's priced up more than these guys. So I think Will Barton and Aaron Gordon come at a nice discount tonight, and the same can be said for Monty Morris. So those are the guys that I'm all willing to mix and blend into my tournament lineups to try to capture that upside game out of them. Will Barton looks really, really great at that 5.1 price tag. Certainly willing to get some exposure to these guys tonight. Aaron Gordon looks even better at 5K. So, I mean, I'd be willing to load up on Aaron Gordon and Will Barton tonight. That's all I'll say. So, and as far as FanDuel's concerned, guys, of course, we just kind of covered the whole slate, but we do talk about FanDuel as well, talk about some pricing discrepancies, just kind of figuring it out. I mean, we're going to have a lot of interest in the same guys on both websites oftentimes, but Nikola Vucevic priced really, really cheap at 6'7". He looks phenomenal over here on FanDuel, especially if there's no DeMar DeRozan. That's just a lock. I mean, the guy's going to be a great play over here, so I would definitely like him. Alex Caruso at 4'4", same thing. We just talked about him. Will Barton's price tag is dipped over here on FanDuel as well, all the way down to 4'2". Even cheaper than it is over there on DraftKings. I really don't understand it, man. I know he hasn't had the biggest of games the last few times out, but, I mean, he went on a stretch there for a while where he's putting up 37, 33, 35, 36 FanDuel points. He's still going to be capable of that. So, for me, I'm willing to block out the game logs, block out the noise, and continue to play him for sure. Buddy Hield at 5'6" does look really good on the Indiana side on FanDuel. It's a really, really, really cheap price tag over here. He is a little bit scoring reliant, so just keep that in mind. Can be a little bit frustrating. He doesn't really contribute in the peripheral categories, so it's kind of an all-or-nothing play, but you can see last time out, 50 FanDuel points. That would make you really happy at a 5'6" price tag for sure. Zach LaVine at 7'2". Once again, those Bulls guys most likely going to be looking pretty good on the slate tonight, especially if there's no DeMar DeRozan against the New Orleans Pelican squad. Pascal Siakam at 8'5" on the Toronto side with the injury news still up in the air. Obviously, we talked about it. We do need confirmation on that injury news before we can really feel too confident about it. And the same can be said for a lot of these guys. I mean, looking at my projections right now, Tyus Jones, the Memphis guys, the Chicago guys were waiting on that injury news. The Toronto guys were waiting on the injury news. So it's kind of the case that we're dealing with right now. Evan Mobley at 7'5" with power forward and center eligibility is a guy I already talked about, but he's going to look phenomenal. It's a great spot. As long as Jared Allen continues to be out, his upside is going to be massive. And the same can be said for Kristaps Porzingis, 8'3", very respectable price tag for him with no Kyle Kuzma. The usage will be through the roof, 60.6 FanDuel points last time out. So that is my overall breakdown, guys. Before I let you guys go, of course, as always, I got to give you my lock of the night. Would be greatly appreciated if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this content, guys, if you haven't signed up for Prize Picks, go ahead and check them out. Use that promo code KJK DFS to receive an instant match deposit up to $100 today. Start winning some money over there on Prize Picks. I'll be dropping my picks video later on, and check out the premium content as well. Patreon.com/KJK_DFS. And with all that out of the way, got to give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Nikola Vucevic taking on this New Orleans Pelicans squad tonight in a 227.5 over under here. Great fantasy point per minute producer, and his price tag has tanked all the way down to a very reasonable price tag on both websites. 7.9 on DraftKings, putting up 1.26 DraftKings points per minute as far as FanDuel is concerned. 6'7", putting up 1.22 FanDuel points per minute. And he gets to take on a New Orleans Pelicans squad tonight that ranks bottom 10 in the league in points per possession rank on my defensive half-court and putbacks tool. 21st overall in points per possession rank, but they do rank bottom 5 in half-court points per play. 25th overall in points per play rank in the half-court setting. Nikola Vucevic's price tag, way too cheap. The production's phenomenal, and if there is no DeMar DeRozan, even better, which we're anticipating that's a possibility. Get him in your lineups because he is my lock of the night. So there, guys, Nikola Vucevic, get him in your lineups, and that's all for me. Really do appreciate the support, guys. Try to get this up to 100 likes would be awesome. Wishing you all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.